When you raise up the topic of music with people in Hong Kong, they will inevitably try to relate it back to their learning experiences as a child. And as part of our culture, most people have learned an instrument or two. The culture sounds amazing on paper, and most kids even end up getting a graded certificate from the music school ABRSM. For those who don't know, the graded certificate, and in particular the grade 8 certificate, is kind of like the benchmark for musical literacy in Hong Kong. But other than showing off to your relatives, it only really serves a purpose for student resumes, such as helping them get into high school, sometimes. I'm not trying to undermine people's achievements in music, but the fact is, most people I have met who had a grade 7 or grade 8 certificate did not remember much of what they learned at all. This system of music was inherited from the colonial era of British Hong Kong, where the education of classical music was designed for an older generation. At that time, classical music was still the only accepted form of music by the higher society. Nowadays, this style of music education, which strives for intense accuracy, precision, where the main goal is to achieve flawlessness, but not actually musicality, feels outdated to me. Because in these times, we can appreciate music from a global spectrum. Hip-hop, pop, rock, trap, you name it. It's ironic because all these genres feel so much more free and more like a form of art than classical music is in many ways, simply because of the rigorousness that is required to perform it. In turn, this kills passion for a lot of young people because music feels like a task that they need to complete. My point is, I think people should play music and learn music because they love it, especially at a young age. Playing music should be fun and rewarding. Expressing music should be dependent on the performer and not on the composer or the ideals of classicalism. Those who have played classical music might be familiar with this, that you have to follow many roles in order to perform the piece like it was supposed to be played. In general, I feel like this system feels outdated because it is so much more about learning a skill than learning music as a form of art. If music sounds good, it sounds good. It does not have to be perfect, with the right dynamics, phrasings, articulations. I grew up learning classical music and did all the graded exam ritual BS. But it did not help me grow as a musician because I was so disinterested in it. It was so much about following rules and remembering all the little details that you forget to eventually express yourself. And on that note, let me talk about exams. Performance of a piece, instead of being an activity to showcase kids' talent, becomes something they dread about because every year they have to try and pass exams on top of their regular academic duties. The problem with exams is mainly that it's not a qualitative assessment, but rather a quantitative one. In order to achieve high marks and get certificates, you had to appeal to judges who were flown all the way from Britain that were trained to assess music pieces in a very specific manner. In short, there is no room for improvisation or creativity. This is also what kills people's passion in music. I think moving forward, we really should take a look at this system we have accepted so long as the norm. I am not necessarily saying we should completely abolish the system of learning classical music, because for some people, they have a passion for pursuing this old form of art and striving for absolute perfection in their performance. But for many others, they want to learn something that they can feel connected with, whether that is pop, contemporary, or any other genre that isn't so brutally dictated by specific articulations, score reading, and the pursuit of flawlessness.